Shine, 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 shine your light on us. You better not put that in.
In your face? I don't know. Wing it.
Be whoop. Okay, hi guys, welcome to Pointing to Jesus, which is Thato's channel, and she's invited me today just to give you guys a talk, if you would want to call it, or my testimony, essentially. So when I was thinking about what is my testimony, I thought essentially in the broader aspect of things, there are two streams, if you'd call it, two major life streams of mine that together accumulatively become my testimony. And one of them is my academic journey in life, and the other is I call it spiritual slash physical, because it's physical but it's also spiritual. And so yeah, those are the two things that I'm going to be talking about today, just briefly, because I could really talk about them for many hours, but then the video would be too long. A large part of my testimony has been learning how to wait on God. And I remember very early on in my life, I learned that waiting on God is not necessarily just sitting and doing nothing. So when you have something that you're aspiring towards, when you have a dream, or if you have a goal that you're working towards, and you know, everybody always tells you to wait on God, and you're like, okay, but what does that mean? Like, what am I meant to do? And a lot of people think that it's just sitting and praying and doing nothing. The analogy that I always use is, what is a waiter? It's someone who serves you while you are waiting for your meal, and then when your meal is ready, they bring you your meal, right? So that's the job description of a waiter. It's somebody that serves you when you visit a restaurant, right? And in the same way, when we're waiting on God, we serve God in our walk and in our lives by doing what we need to do to prepare ourselves and to prepare the space that we're in to receive the blessing that you're waiting for, or to receive essentially what it is that you're waiting for God to do for you. And a lot of the times we tend to say, but God, I need this now, or but God, by the end of this year I want to have achieved this goal. And God turns around and says, but you haven't done any preparation work. Like, you haven't had starters yet. You want to jump straight to dessert. You haven't prepared yourself adequately enough to handle what I'm about to give you, or to handle what you're asking me to give you. And another thing that someone taught me once, just before I actually get to my testimony, another thing that someone actually taught me once is, when you take a shortcut to your final destination, 99% of the time, and this is not like neuroscience or rocket science, if you take a shortcut to get to a destination, you get to the destination, yes, but you get there unprepared. And then all that footwork that would have had to be done to prepare you to be in that place of that destination, that goal, that dream, hasn't been done. It's been short-circuited. And so you find yourself fumbling when you eventually receive what it is that you've been asking God for. And that's not a nice place to be in. Because if you're fumbling, then it's like, if a responsibility has been given to you, for example, and you find yourself fumbling because you haven't done the groundwork, and it just doesn't end up working out. So those are the two premises for my testimony, essentially. So I'll start off with my academic one. I knew from very early on in my high school career, probably like grade 9 or so, grade 9 or 10, that I wanted to do something in health. And at the time, I wasn't exactly sure what in health I wanted to do. In grade 11, we got given the opportunity to do work experience at my high school. And inevitably, I found myself at a hospital. When I had gone and spoken to HR to actually get myself into the building as a volunteer, what they suggested was that I shadow a lot of different people in the hospital to figure out what it is that I actually want to do. And I shadowed a doctor for a few days. I shadowed physiotherapists. I shadowed a lot of people within the hospital environment, and I landed up for, I think, the last few days of that work experience in the pharmacy. And I promise you, it was like I instantly knew that this is what I want to do, because I knew that I wanted to do something in health, but I had no idea that I was going to be as uncomfortable with handling sick people as I actually was during those few days. And I figured out, that the actual physical interaction with people wasn't for me, but I still wanted to make an impact in people's health, and I still wanted to be able to be knowledgeable enough to be able to advise people in certain things. And a big part of the reason why I wanted to do pharmacy once I landed up in pharmacy was for many years in my life, for the large majority of my life, my mom has suffered from hypertension. And on a few occasions, we've gone through hypertensive crisis with her. And if anybody knows anything about that, it's very dangerous, and it's very scary to see a loved one go through something like that. Because in a matter of minutes, your loved one is basically like almost incapacitated with serious pain because their blood pressure is out of control. And I asked myself over and over again, but she's on the right medication, she takes her medication, she's doing this, she's doing everything that's she's supposed to be doing. So why is it that we are going through these things? And it's really, really not a nice thing to see your loved ones go through. And that was one of the biggest push factors for me to understand what goes on in someone's body and how I can do something to help treat it. I really, in actual fact, at the very start, just wanted to understand blood pressure medication because that was what my mom was on. And so that was a big part of my testimony as to why I decided to choose pharmacy as a career choice. And anyway, matric happened, and I don't want to say I fumbled, but I had a very hard time with one specific subject in matric, which just happens to be maths, and it happens to be the one subject that they look at most intensively for application to any health science career, right? Or course or degree that you want to study. So I had applied to almost every pharmacy school in the country and had been rejected to every single one. And this is in 2012, my matric year, right before I'm supposed to go and study, right? And I had no plan B. I genuinely had no plan B. I had figured out a year before that I wanted to do pharmacy, and everything had led up to that moment, me applying to do pharmacy. This is also considering the fact that I didn't do physics and chemistry in high school. So I was genuinely stabbing in the dark. And one could say that I was asking for something that was impossible. I had no physics and I was failing math. And those are two non-negotiables to do anything in health sciences. I was really trying to do something that was impossible. And I had many people over and over and over again quote the cliche saying nothing is impossible with God. But really, when you think about trying to do what I was trying to do, it really did seem impossible. And so it was by chance that I landed up at UKZN physically because I had been rejected everywhere else for pharmacy. And I needed to do something because my dad told me, you're not going to sit at home for a year and do nothing. Like a gap year wasn't an option for me. So we walked onto UKZN campus not knowing what I was going to do, not knowing what we were going to apply for. And literally the only course that had space available was a humanities degree, a Bachelor of Social Science in Geography and Environmental Management. Think about how far removed that is from what I wanted to do. And so anyway, it was the only thing that was available. I accepted it because I was like, I'd rather be inside of the system and then figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to eventually get to where I want to go. So I did a full year of geography and environmental sciences. This was in 2014, and I've skipped a whole year of my life. The whole 2013 year of my life, which I'm going to talk about right now. So 2013, obviously I had passed maths, but with not nearly enough. And I had no physics and chemistry. And so I needed to upgrade, right? So I attended a finishing school, and at the end of the year, my maths mark went up by like 2%. I spent an entire year intentionally upgrading mathematics and adding physics and chemistry as an 8th subject to my matric certificate. And my maths mark went up by 2%. Was I not disappointed, guys? Were my parents not disappointed? But the point of the matter is, I managed to add my physics and chemistry and do grade 10, 11, and 12 physics and chemistry in like 7 months, write the matric exam, and get what I needed to do pharmacy. So that's an 8th subject, but I still had maths to deal with. My mark only went up by, yeah. So I was stuck again. I was stuck, and that's how I landed up doing the late application at UKZN. Right, now we've caught up. Now we've caught up. So I did an entire year, that was 2014, of geography and environmental management as a humanities degree. It was a social sciences degree. And in, I think, September of 2014, in September, October of 2014, and I kid you not, this was absolute chance. I was walking out of one of the lecture theatres, and there were pamphlets that had blown off from somewhere lying around on the floor in the driveway at UKZN. And I picked up one of them, and it read UKZN Foundation Maths Program. And the details on that pamphlet described anyone who had passed math, who was looking to upgrade to be accepted into a science course. And I promise you, it was just a bunch of flies lying on the floor, and I picked it up, and I got home and I was like, here's my opportunity. If there's ever something that slaps you in the face, that was the opportunity. And that was the opportunity that was given to me. So I ended up applying, got accepted to do the program. The program is 2 weeks of math, right? 6 a.m. in the morning to 5 a.m. p.m. for 2 weeks straight. And it costs a heck of a lot of money, and you have to get 60% at the end of the 2 weeks in order to be accepted into a science program at UKZN. The good thing is, if you get the 60%, you're guaranteed a place, but you have to get the 60%. And so we covered the entire matric syllabus of maths in 2 weeks and wrote an exam at the end of the 2 weeks. And by the grace of God, I got above 60% for that. And so I was accepted into the same stream that I was doing, geography and environmental sciences, but the degree was converted from a humanities degree into a Bachelor of Science degree. So this is 2015, right? 2015, I get to campus. I'm supposed to be doing second year of my degree. And because I've now switched streams, I have to catch up on science modules. So they changed my degree now. I'm looking at Thato on the right, by the way. So they changed my degree now to a science degree. And I have to catch up modules that I missed out now, obviously, in my first year. So now I'm doing a Bachelor of Science in Geography and Environmental Management. And I know I need to land up in health sciences somehow. So I decide that I'm going to change my majors. So I changed my majors to biochemistry and microbiology after a lot of consultation with students who I had found on social media and friends of friends who had started in BSc and landed up in health sciences. And so I changed my majors to microbiology and biochemistry, not knowing the hell I was putting myself through at the moment. But to cut a long story short, by the grace of God, 2015 went by, I passed everything. 2016 went by, I passed everything. 2017, final year of my BSc, passed everything. And I get 0.5% short of cum laude. 0.5% short of cum laude. And I knew that I had to get 75% and above to be accepted into pharmacy at UKZN. Wow. So I got rejected for pharmacy at UKZN because of the 0.5%. And if anybody works at UKZN is watching this video, I'm just saying. This is the thing though. The lowest aggregate that was taken the year I was applying was like 90%. That was the lowest aggregate that got accepted into the program. And so I was left stuck again. And I had applied to every other pharmacy school in the country first year, second year, and third year of my BSc. I got rejected from every pharmacy school in my first year. Got rejected from every pharmacy school, including UKZN, in my second year. And in my third year, got rejected from 8 out of the 9. And the very last institution to reply was SMU, who did not even reply. I had been rejected from every other pharmacy school and was left with one response. And I was so anxious that I decided to call. And when I called, I'll never remember, I won't say the name of the person who answered the phone, but it's the person who deals with admin for pharmacy at here at SMU. So this gentleman answers, and so I ask about my application, I tell him I'm worried, what's going on, and then he says to me, what's your name again? And I'm like, it's Nathan Van Beek, and he's like, what's your email address? And then he says to me, oh yeah, so, nonchalantly, he says to me, oh yeah, I have an acceptance letter for you. I need to send it to you. What's your email address? If you could have seen my face at that moment, you can ask my sister. I think, yeah, she was with me. I went white as a sheet. I almost fell to the floor because here I was, having been rejected for like 4 years in a row from every pharmacy school in the country. And the very, very last chance that I had, God came through for me. The very, very last chance that I had, I got accepted to pharmacy at SMU. And I'm here today in my third year, 6 years after matric. And it's funny because our pastor just spoke about the testimony from one of our music ministry members who waited 7 years to get into med school and had to not give up because you're spending so much time doing things that you know are so far from what you want to be doing, and you have to stay motivated and you have to stay passionate enough to stick through these modules that you're like borderline failing. And I don't know how to describe it other than God just having his hand on every obstacle in front of you as you move through the journey of preparation to get where you need to be. And when I look back at it now in retrospect, if I had not gone through the journey of having to complete my BSc, of having to be rejected so many times before being given the thrilling opportunity to pursue my dream, I don't think I would have had the work ethic, I don't think I would have had the determination, I don't think I would have had the patience to be able to get through all the trying things that I have to endure now to get through the program that I'm doing. And I look back in retrospect, and if I had not developed the work ethic that I was forced to develop by doing my previous degree, I would not have made it through this program the way I'm making it through now. By the grace of God, I will finish next year. So yeah, I have not failed anything. I have not written a single supplementary exam, and I believe that that is going to be the case right through to the end of my exam, because I was prepared, and I didn't land up at my destination having taken a shortcut or having been fast-tracked into what I was asking God to essentially bless me with. So that analogy that I used at the beginning of this testimony, in terms of if you take a shortcut to get to your destination, very, very often you get there unprepared. You'll get there, yes, but you get there unprepared and you end up floundering. And so I thank God that I had the preparation that I had in order to be as successful as I am now in what I'm doing. And that's the first part of this testimony, done and dusted. That's my academic journey. The second part of this testimony, okay, let's give us a break.